Hello guys and welcome to another video on this brand new channel. Today we're going to be discussing who is England's #1 right back. We've got John here again.
Hi.
Yeah, and we're going to be debating on who deserves that England #1 right back position. So first, Trent Alexander-Arnold.
He's quality, isn't he? He's quality.
Yeah.
He is defensively, maybe not as much as certain others that we're going to talk about, but going forward, he can pick a pass like no other player in the Premier League. He can whip across more, should I say. The attacking impetus that he gives to Liverpool is so crucial to how they play. It's almost as if he's playing as a number 10, but in the right back position. But for England, since we have already creative players, is he really necessary? Are we going to sacrifice that defensive stability to go forwards where there's other right backs that will give us more defensive rigidity that we'll need at major tournaments?
For me, I think Trent, he's quality, as you said, but put him in a mediocre defence. Will his true colours show through?
Yeah.
I know he offers so much going through in attack, but when we're playing these harder nations like your Frances, your Spains, your Brazils, say in a World Cup scenario, will his defensive weakness show through? Because we all know what he offers going forward, but we're not really yet to see what he does in defence, because Van Dijk, the Liverpool defence is really solid.
The Liverpool defence is one of the best that we've seen in the past decade.
Exactly.
Van Dijk is the best centre-back in the world. I can say that confidently. That tells you a lot. Andy Robertson on the left, world class. Joe Gomez, emerging, but I have no doubt in my mind he will be world class.
And if you look at the England defence, it's slightly more shaky than the Liverpool defence due to that Van Dijk, that Van Dijk figure. So
yeah, we don't have a figure like Van Dijk in English defence.
Exactly. So could his defensive frailness, his weakness, shine through in the England setup, or could we have a better right back who's more defensively stable, who could slot into that right back position? Yeah.
Depends. Playing Trent in a 5 at the back might work for him, but I don't think Gareth Southgate will do that at a major tournament.
Easy production.
So leading on to that, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, what are your opinions on him?
Defensively, as a right back, some of the tackles that he's made this season, inside, outside the box, the boy has no fear. He goes in and wins the ball. Doesn't give away a foul. Doesn't. I think he would be England's #1 right back at a major tournament. Thinking that the way that going forward, he isn't a Trent Alexander-Arnold. We all know that. Even he will say that himself. But the defensive stability that he brings to your team, he's been Manchester United up to the league being stopped. One of their better players this season. Going by it, they haven't really had a good season. And at a major tournament, I think his qualities will shine, where you need to be strong defensively before you are exceptionally good attacking. You need to have a good, solid base, and then you build forward on that. And I think he brings a lot more to the table than Trent does.
Even numerous United players have talked about Aaron Wan-Bissaka's defensive capabilities. That none of the attackers have dribbled past him outright in training. It just shows his defensive awareness, his
quality,
his flair and elegance in defence and winning the ball. It just shows how composed he is. Especially this season, in that weak Manchester United side, he's managed to show how good he is despite their their record in defence, he's been that one shining spark for them.
He has.
And I think he'd work best in the England squad, but I could also see Trent playing right back and him almost being a right centre back potentially. You never know, because of his defensive capabilities. He has pace as well, so he could slot into that position.
He could slot into that right centre back pretty nicely. But we have very few centre backs of quality.
Exactly. And we need that pace in defence as well, because we're lacking that as well. So in the centre back position, so that'd work well. Okay, so number 3, Reece James. What are your opinions on him?
It's a tough one. Is he ready for a major tournament? I don't think so. You could say, that is biased or something. He's good. Has he proven himself on the world stage? The fact that he hasn't been, I don't think he has a single England cap to his name. Yeah, I think he is not as good. Going forward, he's not as good as Trent. Defensively, he's not as good as Aaron Wan-Bissaka. If you put those three in the same team, would Reece James start over Wan-Bissaka or Trent Alexander-Arnold? I don't think so. He is quality. He's the future for England. He's the future. There's no doubt about it. One day he will get into the England squad and he will excel. But is it too early for him to take him to a major tournament? Yeah, I think so.
For me, as a Chelsea fan, I might be slightly biased here, but I think Reece James, he possesses quality. In any other generation, he's slot into that right back position. England, in this generation, the right back position is very solid.
We have so many options at right back. Is he going to get his chance? You never know.
I think I might have to go here with you. It's slightly too early. It hurts to say that as a Chelsea fan, but I think he's solid. He's proved his worth at Chelsea this season. But that right back position is too strong.
And I would, over the days when we had Glenn Johnson at right back, I would have taken Reece James.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At youth level, he proved he was quality this season. He's solid. He's strong.
He showed his quality this season, breaking into that Chelsea first team.
We have to hand it to Frank Lampard though, giving youth the chance.
Giving youth the chance, yeah.
It really proved Reece James, and he's a breaking star, a rising star.
He's going to be a great player.
Exactly. So next, Max Aarons. What are your opinions on him?
First of all, he has to move to a bigger club before I can start considering him to play for England. We've seen he's one of Norwich's standout players. He's one of the first names on the team sheet when Norwich play every week. You can see glimpses. You see glimpses when you see him play. You see him. If you could do that at a top 4 club, an Arsenal, a Chelsea, a Man City, a United, a Liverpool, I would put you in that England team. But while he's playing at Norwich, I don't think he can get a consideration since how poorly overall they have been this season. They ain't last in the league for no reason. So, yeah, I think if he can get a move to a slightly bigger club, maybe an Everton will suit him nicely. I think then we can start considering him for England.
I think he had an excellent season in the Championship, but he's done all right this season. But Norwich, they've been woeful this season. And yeah, like you said, he needs to move to a bigger club. I haven't seen too much of him to have a valid opinion on how good he is, but I've heard good things about him. And however, there are too many better right backs in that position than he is.
There's too many more experienced, better.
Exactly. He's a good player, but the competition there's a lot of competition there. Exactly. So I doubt he'll make it into the team for a very long time, especially with all of them being quite young as well.
Quite young, yeah.
He needs to move to a bigger club to get that opportunity to prove
for
how good
Gareth
he is.
Southgate to even take a look at him. The only way I can
Exactly.
see him getting into the England team even is through injuries, or if Gareth Southgate wants to rotate the squads for a friendly.
Yeah. He won't make it to a big tournament
Well,
as of right now.
yeah.
I don't think so. Okay, finally, Kyle Walker.
As an Arsenal fan, I want to say he is terrible. I don't want to see him in an England shirt. But for many years, he was England's best right back. There's no doubt.
He's had his chance. He's had his chance.
Yeah, he's had his chance. How old? He's getting old now. He's getting on.
He's 30. I think he's 30. So
30 years old.
and he's not as solid as the other names we've mentioned.
Yeah.
He's aging.
He's aging. Is he as good
not-
going forward as Trent? No. Is he good defensively as Aaron Wan-Bissaka? Everyone has their opinions. Personally, I don't think so. But
I think the only thing he offers more of is pace. He's extremely quick.
he's extremely fast, isn't he?
Exactly.
And also, if we're playing 5 at the back, he would slot in nicely into that right centre back role again.
Yeah.
But then that begs the question: if we're both going to be putting Aaron Wan-Bissaka in that right centre back role, there's a bit of competition there. And
Exactly.
competition is healthy, but will we really want to be bringing a 30-plus-year-old to a major tournament to compete with the future of the England? Like, no.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's good enough. I think his time's passed for England. I think it's time.
Personally, I'd prefer Wan-Bissaka in that right centre back role. Him and Trent working on that right side would be nice to see as a fan, as an England fan. Yeah.
It'll be. Obviously, we'll get some. Obviously, they'll get some. He'll need to get some used to. It will need to be played a couple of times. Aaron Wan-Bissaka won't be familiar to that role. Trent also probably won't be familiar to that role, even though he kind of plays as a de facto wing back for Liverpool.
They need time to adjust just to make sure they can play perfectly, like in unison in that position.
We say that those two can play there. What if they can't play together?
Exactly.
We don't know yet. There's lots of ifs, buts, and maybes that we need to trial it out before coming to a definite conclusion.
So we forgot to mention Kieran Trippier, and the fact that we didn't mention him, I think it shows how much he slept on. I think the route that Gareth Southgate will take will be Trent as the de facto number 1 and Trippier as his second option. Obviously, he scored that wonder free kick in the 2018 World Cup, and I think where Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he excels in his defensive skills and capabilities, and Trent, he excels in attack and with assist scoring. I think Trippier, he doesn't really excel in one particular aspect. He's more of an overall player, and he put in a shift in the La Liga as well. He managed to get 4 assists and get 1 in the Champions League. So obviously he's not as creative as Trent Alexander-Arnold, but he does know how to whip in across, and I think that'll be useful for England. But for me, I'd rather see Wan-Bissaka in that position over Trippier. Also, the fact that he's not really young, he's not got too many years in him, he's 29, he's not as old as Kyle Walker, but if Southgate chooses to go the youth route, I think that Trent will be number 1, and it'll be between him and Wan-Bissaka for that number 2 right back. Actually, if I was Southgate, I'd pick Trent, Wan-Bissaka and Reece James as my 3 right backs. But obviously, if you look at it from his perspective, he'll probably consider Kyle Walker. It's a maybe not for him, but I think he's going to go with Trent, Wan-Bissaka and Trippier as his 3 main right backs.
So that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and share this video, will be greatly appreciated. Thank you for John for joining this video.
It's alright.
And thanks for watching once.